outline for the day, we'll let you know a little bit more about the National Summer Learning Association, explain what the Excellence Awards are and the quality standards they're based on. We'll have some specifics about the 2017 application, and then we'll spend some time hearing from our wonderful 2016 winners. Finally, we'll open it up for questions and answers. This webinar is being recorded, so if you can't stay for the whole webinar, please check back on our website in a few days, and we should have it posted. So to start us out, a little bit about NSLA. NSLA is the only national nonprofit exclusively focused on closing the achievement gap by increasing access to high-quality summer learning opportunities. NSLA's goal is to increase nationwide the number of high-quality summer learning programs designed to close the achievement gap. To achieve this goal, NSLA recognizes and disseminates what works, offers expertise and support for programs and communities, and advocates for summer learning as a solution for equity and excellence in education. NSLA's work is driven by the belief that all children and youth deserve high-quality summer learning experiences that will help them succeed in college, career, and life. The New York Life Foundation Excellence in Summer Learning Awards are a big piece of recognizing and disseminating what works in summer learning. It also connects us to potential programs who may be interested in our services like technical assistance training, community system building, and community system building around summer learning and formative evaluation. The goals of both the Excellence Award and the Founders Award are to recognize outstanding summer programs or models that demonstrate excellence in accelerating academic achievement and promoting healthy development for young people between pre-kindergarten and 12th grade. The Excellence in Summer Learning Awards have developed as a program with far-reaching implications for improving the quality and impact of the summer learning field as a whole. You can see how the awards help NSLA accomplish our strategic priorities as we use the Excellence Award to draw national attention to exemplary summer learning models, while at the same time documenting and disseminating the best practices used in these programs. Summer learning programs can apply to this award if they are a traditional model that is site and enrollment based, though you can find full eligibility requirements in our application. NSLA's Founders Award was introduced 2 years ago to better document outstanding summer learning practices and models in the field. Programs or summer learning models and systems, both local, state, or national, can apply to this award if they operate as a drop-in site or plug-in program used by summer learning programs or simply summer-focused. Also eligible are wraparound programs that do not partner with a traditional site or enrollment-based summer programs, but provide learning or enrichment opportunities during the summer. So I understand this might be a little confusing at first, but our goal with the Founders Award is to capture some of the other ways programs and organizations are reaching young people and uncover best practices for these non-traditional models. This will help us better understand what the summer programming landscape really has to offer our young people and where there are gaps. So there's no cost to apply for either award aside from your time. This is not a grant. Through the generous support of the New York Life Foundation, we are able to attach a monetary award to the Excellence and Founders Award. All summer programs are encouraged to apply. However, if your program excels in any of these focus areas, NSLA would like to lift your program up as a leading example nationally. This does not impact your eligibility, but we are specifically looking for exemplary programs in these categories. Even if you think your program sort of fits the award guidelines, you should definitely apply if you fall into one of these categories. The awards are given annually based on an application process that elicits information on the program's purpose, culture, flow, history, mission, partnerships, and quality at the point of service. So be ready to provide real on-the-ground examples of programming from summer 2016. We've made some changes to the application process this year. If you've applied in the past, you'll know that the application was quite extensive. This year, we split the application into 2 parts and hope that this will encourage more people to complete the application. The Round 1 application is due February 1st. Once the applications are submitted, they will be reviewed for eligibility. Then they are reviewed by NSLA staff in addition to partners in the field, previous winners, and other education and youth development experts. Applications are measured against the Summer Learning Program Quality Assessment, or Slp Qa, developed in partnership by NSLA and the Weicker Center for Youth Program Quality, which Christy will explain a little bit more in detail on the next slide. 16 semifinalists will be selected to move on to round 2. During this round, semifinalists will complete a pre-interview questionnaire. This is the second part of the application, and a phone interview. The phone interviews are conducted by a mixed group of NSLA staff and external experts in the spring. Finally, during round 3, NSLA staff conducts site visits to a select group of 8 finalists to observe program activities during the summer. Another change for this year's award process is that winners will be announced on July 13th for Summer Learning Day. We made this change to bring more attention to the great work of our winners. Last year's Summer Learning Day was our biggest yet, and we expect next year to be even better. So I'll hand things over to Christy now to tell you a little bit more about the Slp Qa.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about our partnership with Weicker. Because the Summer Learning PQA is a new tool, for the next few minutes I'm going to talk a little bit more about how this was developed and how this impacts the Excellence Award process. NSLA and the Weicker Center came together to create a tool that would better connect the summer process to the school year process and lean on Weicker's reliable and validated tool, the Youth Program Quality Assessment, or YPQA, as well as the robust indicators in our Comprehensive Assessment of Summer Learning Programs, or CAS, to create this ultimate tool, the Summer Learning Program Quality Assessment. Ultimately, our organizations did this for the same reason that you serve young people in the summer. We want to improve quality and youth experience in summer programs across the country. The questions and the language in the tool will continue to be updated, but we've been using this tool now for about 4 summers, and we are really pleased with the results. The Slp Qa is aligned with the other Weicker assessment tool known as the Youth Program Quality Assessment, or YPQA, and both tools subscribe to what is known as the Weicker Pyramid of Quality, and you see that represented there on the slide on the right-hand side. This concept is based on the idea that as quality increases or elevates to higher levels, the more engaged youth are that are enrolled in the program. When youth are truly engaged, not only are the results more impactful, but youth tend to stay enrolled in the same program for multiple years. This can have an extremely positive longitudinal effect over time on academic skills as well as social emotional skills. One of our most well-received publications is our Summer Starts in September Planning Guide. And I might be a little bit biased, but it is truly the most comprehensive guide to planning a successful summer learning program. It's more than 200 full-color pages and chock full of research-based strategies, program examples, case studies, and tools that program leaders can use to develop an intentional and high-impact program. The guide not only helps the program to understand how to implement high-quality practices, but also helps programs identify which practices should be implemented first. And you can find out more about the Summer Starts in September Planning Guide on our website. If you're interested in going a bit deeper with understanding high-quality practices, you might want to learn a little bit more about our trainings and our slate of trainings that we have here in NSLA, such as our Summer Debrief. This particular training, which is customized based upon an organization's needs and goals, is a facilitated session on what happened during the summer program. It would ideally take place right after the summer program ends and would devote almost an entire day to downloading the successes and the challenges that the summer program represents. Using this information, we would work with the participants to review and discuss program data to jumpstart planning for the upcoming summer. This type of session helps programs to begin to develop targeted goals to drive future quality improvement. Last but not least are our professional learning communities, or our PLCs. This type of experience is probably the deepest that we go with our trainings, as it represents almost a year-round experience with learning more about program quality. You would hear and practice ideas for program improvements, develop achievable program quality goals for the summer, and be assessed by the team here at NSLA as to your ongoing progress. So if you'd like to hear any more about these offerings and just want to know some more information or give some examples of how we've worked with this in the past with other programs and organizations, just get in touch with me. I'd be happy to support to you. And I'm going to hand it back over to Leslie.
Thank you, Christy. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our system building work. System building might be a new phrase for some of you. You can think of it as a way to bring together people, resources, and organizations for the purpose of creating a unified effort to ensure equitable access to quality summer learning opportunities for all youth in the community. One area of our fee-for-service technical assistance that NSLA offers is supporting communities as they complete their system building work. Here at NSLA, we think about this work happening in 3 phases. The first phase involves helping communities to assess where they are in terms of their summers. We work with the community to complete a landscape assessment to identify where the summer programs are, who they are serving, and what program they offer to use. Communities also complete a self-assessment to gauge where they stand in the process of building an effective summer learning system. Phase 2 is where we work with communities to bring together the information gathered in Phase 1 to decide what they need to work on to improve their summer system and to create a summer learning action plan. And the final phase is where NSLA can provide additional technical assistance and training to help build the capacity of a community to carry out their action plan. As I mentioned, during that first phase of assessment, we have communities complete a self-assessment where they look at key areas that we know will lead to an effective summer learning system. The purpose of the self-assessment is to highlight those areas of strength and areas that may need more work, resources, or support. NSLA has developed 39 indicators of effective summer learning systems, and these indicators fall into the 6 key domains that you see. The goal after completing the process of going through these 3 phases of system building work is to have a summer learning plan that will enable communities to make decisions about and take actions around summer. NSLA helps facilitate this process, the community first working with our guidance and then on their own. Next, I want to walk you through the Excellence Awards section of our website. The first section you'll see is the why apply. There's so many benefits you receive by participating in the Excellence Award process. Just by submitting an application for one of the Excellence in Summer Learning Awards, you will receive a feedback summary outlining strengths and areas for improvement identified by our program quality team here at NSLA. All finalists receive a detailed feedback report, similar to having a full quality assessment and phone call with 2 members of the NSLA program quality team. A quality assessment for one single program site is usually valued up to $4,000. As an award winner, your program will receive visibility at the National Summer Learning Day, the Summer Changes Everything National Conference, and NSLA's Summer Times e-newsletter. You'll also receive invitations to participate in panel discussions, funder summits, or conference presentations with or on behalf of NSLA. There are possible future case studies or features in NSLA's presentations, publications, or reports widely distributed throughout the education field and staged on summerlearning.org. Award winners also receive national exposure through NSLA's press release during the busy summer learning media season and professional development opportunities with peer organizations through NSLA's new affinity groups. Finally, your program could win a monetary award of up to $10,000 generously provided by the New York Life Foundation. Programs have used the award in their grant-making process to convey to funders that they have been lifted up as a national leader in summer learning and out-of-school time for underserved youth. If you scroll further down the Excellence Award page, you'll get to the How to Apply section. You'll click on the buttons on the left to complete the Excellence Award and on the right to complete the Founders Award. Applications are only accepted on our online submission on SurveyMonkey. In SurveyMonkey, you cannot save your application, and in the instructions, we recommend you fill out everything in a Word document first, and then copy and paste your answers into the application. You can download a copy of the applications here, so you can take your time formulating your responses before transferring them to the online application. Further down the web page, you'll see the Past Winners section. Here you can learn more about the types of programs that have won our awards over the past 12 years. Each year we prepare a bulletin featuring that year's award winners that you can download in PDF form. So I'll hand things over to Christy now to tell us more about our 2016 winners.
Oh, I get the fun part of this webinar because I get to talk about the winners. So without further ado, I will read them all and have some silent applause for them. Engaging Creative Minds, the Summer STEAM Institute, the Clarence T.C. Ching Quayle Program at Pono House School, Wayne State University's Mathcore, Consolidated School District of New Britain Summer Enrichment Experience, and our Founders Award winner this year is the Dallas City of Learning. So congratulations to all of them. These programs bust the myth that summer learning is boring or punitive by offering some of the most engaging, individualized, and hands-on learning opportunities available to young people today. Each program completed the rigorous application you all are starting to begin and have proven themselves as exemplary models of summer learning. Joining us today are two of this year's winners. We have Robin Berlinski, the Executive Director of Engaging Creative Minds, the Summer STEAM Institute, and Dionisi Alaprantis, the Associate Director of Wayne State University's Mathcore. So I'm happy to have them here, and we're going to turn it over to them for the next few minutes to talk a little bit more about their programs and their process. So Dionisi, let's start with you. Welcome.
Hi, Christy. Thanks so much. This is Dionisi here. Really happy to be here. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the Wayne State University Mathcore. So really the program started really as a humanitarian thing, really as just as kind of a response and a reaction to what was happening in Detroit. So I'm in Cleveland, and this was before my time. But, you know, I think it was just people looking around them and seeing what was happening in their communities, and, you know, just seeing how some kids were growing up and wanting to do something about that situation, really anything they could to improve that situation. And because the people, you know, that we're talking about were mathematicians, they set on mathematics as their tool. Even though they might all really like basketball, you know, they're professional mathematicians, so that's what they ended up doing. So yeah, the mission is really trying to provide for as many kids in Detroit, and now we're thinking more nationally and even beyond, just, you know, thinking about the kind of caring, loving environment that all kids need, and the kind of opportunities that not all kids get, but trying to make sure that everyone has access to those opportunities. And so, yeah, the hope is that, you know, we can expand this to something throughout the country. We have a site here in Cleveland, I'll get to that later, to new sites. And part of that is going to be providing kind of a model for how to do that. And then also just kind of this thinking about this philosophy that the program has, which is really quite unique and quite important. And then developing a curriculum, you know, both for the programs, new programs, and for schools. And really we see this as a social movement in terms of the philosophy. So yeah, so really everything begins, so really I would say Mathcore is really two things. It's loving kids and it's believing in kids. So really everything begins with that kind of loving kids. It all goes back to that. So all decisions are kind of made from that perspective. and it really is kind of what drives everything. And so what does that mean in our terms when we're talking about that at the Mathcore? It really means seeing those kids, every kid we work with, as our kids, putting them first, always putting kids first, and just wanting good things for them, wanting the best, just the best for them. And then in terms of believing in kids, that means, we have this kind of belief that every kid has some kind of unique and special greatness within them. And really our job is to help them, find that greatness and help it be realized. We're not going to give that greatness to any kid. We think they have that, and we're not sure what that is. For one kid, it might be their math. For another kid, it might be some other, this other thing that they need to work on and develop and do something great. But we really believe that every kid has that. Ready for the next slide? So some principles that kind of engender. So some things that kind of come out of that naturally. The first one is, if we really believe that every kid has some greatness in them, and we really kind of love kids and really celebrate them as being unique and really as irreplaceable, we have to tell them, you got to be yourself. We've got to encourage that and encourage that individuality. Really something else that's like one of the few rules that we have that we'll talk about is no violence. So we really, not even horseplay, that's the one thing you can really do that we really don't tolerate. We have some principles that we think about, so we try to always kind of, encourage and talk about things like kindness, courage, and integrity. So living with those things. So one in particular, thinking about courage, we talk about this road to greatness, like how you get there, and that, it's not a straight line. It's not this straight line that you just go from not being, perfect 1 second, you put in some effort, and all of a sudden you're there. There are ups and downs along the way, and you have to have the courage to fail and the courage to struggle. And so we're always constantly encouraging kids with stories and praising them when we see them doing cool things that are either kind or courageous or that show their integrity. Another thing, when we talk about, the way we teach, we're really conscious of the fact that learning happens through relationships. So we don't think we're just dealing with robots here when we're dealing with kids. We really think that having a relationship with a kid, they're much more likely to respond positively and, to really push themselves when they know that you're invested in them, that you care about them. It really changes the game. And another thing, is we really want to enjoy our lives and our time together. One way we do that is with humor. We do that, anytime we can. We tell some jokes. We have a good time with each other. We laugh any way we can. And maybe the last thing I'll say is we have this fairness doctrine that, we're different than other places. Our fairness doctrine is we actually treat each kid individually. So if someone, had a heart attack or a broken leg, we would treat that differently, but we care about kids the same. And then the last point on this slide that I'll talk about real quick is just another really, kind of quick way of summarizing the Mathcore in my mind is it's really about getting kids to care about kids. Once you do that, I think kind of anything is possible in terms of how the kids will respond and how they'll behave themselves, and they'll really be, a force to make a better world. Ready for the next slide? So yeah, so what does that turn into in terms of the camp? We have a couple rules for the kids. So one is be yourself. When you come into the Mathcore, there's a sign that says, welcome to the Mathcore, please remove your mask. So this is a place where we really want everyone to just feel free to be themselves. We always want to push kids to find their greatness. We never want to accept, kids putting in half effort or not really striving to reach everything they can be. And then the last rule is just be safe, no violence. We care about you. We want you to be safe. We want you to be doing well. So we can't have that in our camp. On the other hand, for our staff, there's a ton of rules, and we post these, so that, kids, it sends a really strong message to the kids in our program that we're not here to just kind of boss them around and tell them what to do. We really don't want to be in that kind of a place. Really, the rules are all for the staff, that we really have to do all these things for kids. We have to love them. We have to inspire them. We have to, care for them in all these different ways. And that's really the focus of the program. So it's maybe a little bit flipped relative to what you might see in other places. Next slide. So kind of the basic format of the Mathcore is, you end up having these teams that consist of one college student is kind of directing them. You'll have 5 high school students as paid teaching assistants, and then for each high school student, they'll be working with 2 middle school kids. So you'll have 10 middle school kids in total. And you tell the high school kids, your job is to make sure that the students that you're working with are happy, safe, and learning well. And that's their job for the summer. So that's the basic structure in terms of the camp. Then every day we start the day with these daily assemblies where we'll have a lot of messaging, so a lot of stories about, like I said, kindness, courage, integrity, you name it, whatever. Sometimes things are in the news, sometimes things that are kind of more historical, sometimes things that, you know, just happened are recent events. Anything like that can get mentioned, and really a big thing is we recognize achievement. So every day when someone's gotten a 10 out of 10 on their homework, we acknowledge that. When someone's put in extra work, we acknowledge that in front of everyone. Similarly, the very first week, every kid is going to stand for a dignified applause when we have this first week introduction. And really the focus of the camp is always on the kids, always about lifting up our kids and elevating them in any way we can. We also have this thing where, you know, we have these hand signals that allow us to communicate with each other without having to interrupt each other. So we have hand signals that signal that we agree with something, we disagree, and also a very powerful one is to show that, you know, we're giving support to someone. So if they're having the courage to go up to the board to do a math problem or, you know, to open up and talk about something, you give them that support, it's really a powerful thing. Yeah, and maybe we should keep going forward because I think I'm being long-winded. So yeah, it turns out that the Mathcore has its own kind of, you know, curriculum that it's developed over time, written by the mathematicians at Wayne State. It covers a lot of material in a really small amount of time. Really, it's taught by non-professionals. It really ends up being taught by the high school kids. A lot of the teaching is done in what we call team time, where the high school kids are working, one high school kid per 2 middle school kids, under the supervision of the college students. And that, you know, that has huge effects and is very effective. So, you know, you have kids coming in, getting 25%, 30% median on pre-test. By the end of 6 weeks, they're getting 85, 90% median score on the post-test, which is the similar material. Getting ACT math scores of 21 or above on average. And really the way we view it is really in terms of broccoli and ice cream. So we have broccoli, you know, kind of these basic courses, the real numbers, fractions, how to compare them, how to, you know, operate on them. Those are some of the basics that, you know, say, for example, our middle school students have to get. But at the same time, we have these ice cream courses because we really want to inspire our kids, give them a taste of the pleasure of finding things out, get them excited about learning. So, and just show them that using your mind is this incredible thing. And again, another great way to enjoy life. So we have things like where we'll be teaching 7th graders, you know, calculus. We'll be teaching them about partial sums and how those converge to get infinite series. So lots of exciting stuff to get kids really engaged. Next slide. So yeah, so I'll just go real quick and just say that we're, you know, we're trying to grow this. I'm actually in Cleveland. I went to visit the Mathcore in Detroit at Wayne State University about maybe 6 years ago, something like that. What we saw blew us away in terms of both the academics, in terms of the math, but also in terms of the social side. So much love, so much caring. You just saw it and you're like, this needs to be bottled up and just taken everywhere. So we came back to Cleveland, a group of us, and we started a camp here. And that was, you know, we just had our 5th summer camp. There's another branch in Utica and in Philadelphia. If you know anyone in either of those places, you should go visit them. You should come visit us in Cleveland. You should go check out Detroit. And if, you know, you're in a different city and you're thinking about maybe trying to start a Mathcore, we'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Denise, we had a quick question we wanted to ask from Delilah. She wanted to know, how old is Mathcore?
So, hi, Delilah, thank you. So the Mathcore at Wayne State University in Detroit is like 25 years old. So they're actually something of an institution in Detroit. There have been a lot of students that have gone through in Detroit. Here in Cleveland, we're about 5 years old, so we just had our 5th summer camp. And Utica and Philadelphia, a little bit newer, so more like the 2 to 3 year range.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Denise. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And we are going to now pass this over to Robin. Robin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
So Engaging Creative Minds is in Charleston, South Carolina. We've been doing programs since January of 2013, and we work with 3rd through 8th grade students. We follow our state's profile of a South Carolina graduate to stay current with what our state education leaders are focused on. This ensures credibility in our schools. Our principals are more apt to request our services, knowing that we work directly with a state policy. So what we do, engaged learning experiences. So we do not have a physical space to bring students in. We're just an office, and so all of our programs occur in our schools. We call them ELEs, or Engaged Learning Experiences, because they're different from traditional artist in residency programs. We focus on arts integration, and we do not do a traditional residency where a teacher would stop teaching and then an artist would come in and do their thing. And then when the thing is over, the teachers go back to teaching. What we do is we bring artists in to actually teach what the teachers are already doing. So we require that our teachers participate as learners in the activities, and we require that our artists plan their lessons collaboratively with the teachers. So there are no kind of cookie cutter programs. Every experience is unique in the school. So professional development is a really important piece of what we do. In order to succeed with our ELEs, this professional development is based on the Kennedy Center model of arts integration. So we always want to, while we work with our South Carolina profile of a South Carolina graduate, we also work with this national, Kennedy Center model that's very effective for what we do in our schools. So we're new. This is our 3rd full year in the schools, and we just hosted our 3rd summer camp this past June and July, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But this shows the power of quality over quantity. We're still very new, but what we're doing is very impactful. So we don't market our services to schools, and we need a way for the teachers to buy in and understand what we do. And so because we have over 50 art partners and cultural organizations for the teachers to choose from, we started doing school festivals so that the artists can go into schools and showcase what they do, and the teachers can learn about all the dance artists and the visual artists and the musicians who can teach different things like force and motion through visual arts or chemistry through dance. And the teachers get some really good ideas of programs they could bring to their classroom the following year. So Summer STEAM Institute. So the school district came to us after our 1st year and asked us to provide a 6-week summer camp that focused on diversity and arts integration with the goal of preventing summer learning loss. So since our mission is to inspire all students, we created a model that would have 70 students pay to come and 30 students chosen by the district who would come on scholarship. And this was a great diversity model and something that other counties in our state are trying to implement. The school gave us access to their summer feeding program as well as transportation, and we had a space because, as you remember, we don't have a physical space. And then in trade, we took those 30 students and worked with them for 6 weeks, and you're going to see the data on that in a minute. funding is really important to all of us who are nonprofits. I think we can all agree to that. And something we implemented that seems to be seems to be very appealing to our funders is that our teachers, our certified teachers, work as counselors. So for 6 weeks, when they're working in our arts integrated camp, they're learning new arts integration and STEAM strategies for their future classrooms. So that enables us to write grants for professional development that's hands-on training for these teachers to take back to their classrooms for an even greater impact. And then finally, we focus on 3 things every summer, which is attendance, engagement, and relationships. And when our counselors and our artists know that that's what we're focusing on, we're getting really strong results. And what I mentioned earlier about the first year with our district, 63% of those scholarship students had no summer learning loss based on their spring and fall standardized tests. So that was really exciting to us and has enabled us to do our camp every year after that. Thank you. And I will hand it over to Christy.
Sure, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you.
So we're going to open things up now to answer some of your questions. We've seen a lot of great questions in the Q&A box. And if you have any additional questions, please type it in now. So let's see, I have a question here about how many applications we get in on average and how many people apply for our Founders Award versus our Excellence Awards. So we usually get in 80 to 100 applicants each year. It depends on the year. I don't have an exact breakdown, but we definitely have more people applying to our Excellence Award. Our Founders Award is pretty new. So people are still learning about it and learning if it applies to them. But again, if you're a traditional program, the Excellence Award is for you. If you don't feel that you fit that the traditional model, if you're something online, if you're an add-on service, if you are a summer learning system, if you have a citywide system that you would like to lift up, the Founders Award is for you.
And we just got a question in for Robin. Robin, if you could unmute yourself really quickly, that'd be great. I'm going to read it to you. It says, are you willing to share your model with other nonprofits?
Absolutely. We would love to share our model.
All right, fantastic. Well, there you go, Felicia. Hope that helps.
We have a question. Can you apply for both awards for a single program? You could, if you're not sure which award is the best fit, you can, if you send me a direct email. My email address is leslie@summerlearning.org. I can help you figure out which one is the best fit, which award is the best fit. It's probably just not a good idea, just to save you time, not to apply to both awards for one program. But I can answer direct, specific questions about your program and figure out the best fit for you if you email me directly. So we have a question that says, our program is similar to the Summer STEAM Institute. Does NSA look for programs that are different from what they have funded, not necessarily funded, but that have been awarded in the past? I would say that we look at each program and each application individually. So even if they're similar to past winners or past programs that we've looked at, each program is just a little unique, so I would encourage you to apply.
We have another question here from Jessica. She's asking about if this is for traditional summer enrichment programs that re-enroll students each summer. Well, it's a high-quality practice and a high-level engagement if you have students that repeat and come back year after year, because then they are engaged with caring adults, and that relationship builds over time. So it's something that is more speaking to the practice of high quality versus this award isn't for folks that do that. It's just one of those things we look at. It's definitely not a deal breaker. I would encourage you to apply if that's what you want to do, and then hopefully through the process you'll be able to understand a few more of those high quality practices. So thank you, Jessica.
We have a question about contact information for us and for our panelists, so we will send that out after the webinar. I've also seen a couple questions that were similar. Would high school volunteers count as staff, or do they have to be paid? So anybody who is not a participant of your program would be counted as staff. They don't have to be paid. They don't have to be an adult, like your high school volunteers, your college, maybe like a college intern, they'd all count as staff, and we are looking at your adult to youth ratio. There's more questions coming in. So I have a question about the process. So again, we kind of a little bit early, so let me jump just quickly back to a quick overview of the process as far as how we will be receiving the applications and going through those. There are going to be 3 rounds. The first round is submitting the application that is due on February 1st. Those will be reviewed by our internal and external reviewers and scored. The applicants that make it to the second round, and we're going to have about 16 applicants move on to round 2. In round 2, they'll complete a pre-interview questionnaire and a phone interview. Those will be reviewed and scored again by our internal and external reviewers. And then in round 3, we'll have NSLA staff will visit up to 8 programs during the summer, and we will have our winners announced on July 13th. So I have a question: how much does the number of children served impact qualification for the award? It doesn't. We really look at each application individually, and each program individually. So if you have a compelling story, if you're doing great quality work, we want to see that. So we have one more person in the room, and let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. This is Monica Logan. I'm the Vice President of Program and Systems Quality here at NSLA, and I wanted to just add on to Leslie's point. We have about the size of the programs and if that if that's a determinant in whether they are winners or not. We have awarded school districts that have served hundreds and hundreds of kids the awards, and we also have awarded we've also given the award to small residential programs that had about 50 kids. And so, again, to Leslie's point, we are looking at quality no matter what size the program. So we would definitely encourage you to apply based upon, not based upon the size of the program, but how you see the quality is of the program.
And Ingrid, you just asked a question about the quality. I would definitely recommend you spend some time learning a little bit more about the Slp Qa. I talked about that earlier in the webinar. That's actually a free downloadable tool you can get through the WICERT site. And if you need me to send you specifically the link to do that, I will. But that tool is what we use kind of as our base guideline for how we determine what quality looks like in the field. The questions that are built into the Excellence Award are based completely on that tool. So the idea is that if you're using that as your own rubric and as a way for you to determine what your level of quality is, then hopefully you'll score higher on the application and you'll be able to answer the questions more comprehensively, and it'll give you just kind of a guideline as to what to follow. So that's basically my advice for that, and we can, again, point you in the right direction to where that is. You're welcome. Hi, Billy. Yes, we're going to send the link out. And again, if you need some more assistance or guidance in learning more about the Slp Qa, be happy to help you. The YPQA, which is the school-based school year tool, works alongside the Slp Qa, and they work in tandem with one another. So if you know a little bit about the Slp Qa, you'll already have a head start in learning more about the YPQA. So be happy to help you with that, no problem. Okay, so the link there at the bottom of the slide talks about the Slp Qa and the tool that you can find online. So this is directly links to WICERT's website, and that's the link you would use. And again, if you need more assistance, happy to help.
Okay, we're going to have one more minute for questions. So if you haven't typed your question into the Q&A box yet, go ahead and do that. We have a lot of questions in there, so we will try to find some way to share all the great questions that are in the Q&A box if we didn't actually get to read yours out loud.
And if you have any specific questions for our guests, please type them in. It's a great time to be able to talk to folks that have been there, done that, and gotten through the process successfully. So please, if there's something that you'd like to ask them, we'd be happy to share. One more minute.
Hi, Delilah. Thanks for your question. So if you email me directly your questions about you have a question about the questions in the application, questions 21 through 24. We can set up a time to talk and about those specific questions. But yes, as Chrissy said, the Slp Qa is a great way to help understand kind of where we're coming from with those questions and the kind of quality that we're looking for.
And Ingrid has a question for either Robin or Dionysi about any suggestions about the application process. Dionysi, specifically for Mathcore, are the high schoolers considered participants or staff? Great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. I would say both, but first staff. And I think that changes kind of the whole kind of engagement with them in the sense that once they take on that responsibility and see things through that, from that perspective, first of all, you're enlisting them in this, this project, this common goal of, of working to educate the middle schoolers. But yeah, then I think they also see their own kind of education a little bit differently in the sense of they might listen to some of the older folks a little bit more once they realize, I've had to do this to a middle schooler, I've had to explain something to them, and now when they're giving me some advice, they tend to take it a lot better. So, but yeah, they're really both, but I would say staff first.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your engagement, for your questions. We are here and available. We are going to share, no problem, Ingrid, thank you so much. We are going to share our contact information. Again, the webinar slides will be ready on our website. So if there's anything else that we can provide to you with this process, we are happy to do it. And we're here and ready available. So before we completely end, we have a couple of quick announcements about some upcoming opportunities that might be of interest to you. Something brand new that we are offering in our partnership with Weichert is our Slp Qa, and that's Summer Learning Program Quality Intervention Box Set. If you are not interested, if you're not only interested in program quality, but also doing some in-house assessment, this might be something that you consider investing in. The cost is $1,000, and on the slide is just a very, very quick summary of what's included, but there's a lot more to this box set than just what's here, so if you want to know more information about that, please reach out to me. And then last but not least, we have our upcoming Assessor Coach Training coming up in February right here in Baltimore. While this is called our Assessor Coach Training, I feel like the emphasis really needs to be put on the coach part of the title. I've been through this training myself. It does equip you with supporting your staff through change. Sometimes in programs it's hard to do things differently. It's hard to move out of our comfort zone. But based upon the data and any kind of information you're collecting from your participants, your families, sometimes you have to do it. And this training would be able to give you a chance to learn about these strategies and bettering the experience for all of your stakeholders. And again, contact me for more info. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, so check us out there. And one last note about when applications are due. February 1st, quickly approaching. So please go ahead and get started now on your application. We are really looking forward to hearing more about your programs. And with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Thank you, everyone.